Hey, how's it going? This is Chris, and today we're going to build a web scraper using Node.js. So we'll build a little server with Express, and then we'll use a package called Cheerio to do our scraping. And then we'll have one more package for this video, Axios, to manage our fetch requests. So let's go ahead and dive in. I've got a new folder in my tutorials folder. I called it Scraper. So I'm going to be in there. I'm going to run npm init and then just enter through all the defaults. Cool, got my package.json, and now I'm going to install a couple of packages that I mentioned. So Express, and then Cheerio, and Axios. And you can do yarn add if you're using yarn. That's also acceptable. Cool, so there's our package.json. We're going to get rid of this script and replace it. We'll do dev and then node index.js. So when we run npm run dev, it's going to instead run node index.js, and it'll run our it'll run that file for us. So let's make that file. We'll do index.js. And then just to test it out, console.log, hey. So if I go down here and do npm run dev, I should see in the terminal, hey, cool. So that works. I can get rid of that. Next, we want to make our file with our scraping logic. So let's go ahead and create a new folder. Call it utils. And then in here, we'll do scraper.js. And in here, we're going to require in Axios. And then Cheerio. Cool. So we're going to need a URL to pull data from. And so today I'm going to use Course Report. Course Report's cool. It's got a lot of different information about coding boot camps. And each year they seem to be growing more and more people are enrolling in them. So this could be a good tool for you to use or to update yourself with some information. So we're going to go to the Browse Schools page, and you can see here there's 520 results. We're going to narrow that down a little bit, and we're going to filter by schools that are starting within 6 months. So we'll click Filter Schools, and now we've got 50 results split into 2 pages. So there's going to be 2 URLs that we're using. Let's grab this first one. So we'll grab this from up top, and we'll set it to a variable called URL, and then inside of parentheses we'll paste in that URL. So what we're going to be grabbing is 2 pieces of information: the name of the school and then the start date. So let's create some variables for storing those bits of information. So we'll do names as an empty array, and then start dates as an empty array. Then we are going to fetch our data. So we'll do fetch data. We'll do this as an async function where it takes in a URL. And then the result will be await axios.get and whatever URL is passed in here. So notice that mine just lit up, my syntax highlighting lit up to show that this URL and this URL are paired together. So it's going to take in a URL and pass it down. So to make it more clear, I'll call this URL 1, just so we're not confused. And then we'll return Cheerio.load result dot data. So we'll take this result and then load it into Cheerio with result dot data. So the next thing that we'll need to do is actually grab these results. And so what you need to do is inside of your inspector, figure out what tags you can use to target the elements that you want. So we want the name of the school and the start date. So the name of the school is this H3 here. I'm not sure, there might be other H3s on the page, so we want to look for like another class name that it is embedded in, or that it's that this H3 is a child of. So I see that it looks like all of these schools are different list items. Yeah, so you can see all the different names. So what we could do, and it looks like there's actually a different way to do this, but let's do it this way. So we'll grab the list item and we'll grab the H3 by targeting the school.li or -li and then the H3 inside of it. So let's set that up. So we'll do const get results equals async, and then const $sign equals await fetch data with URL1. So we're passing in URL1 to this fetch data function. And then Cheerio uses jQuery, so targeting elements looks the same. So we'll do school-li H3, and then we're going to loop over all of those. So I targeted the li, school li, and then the H3 inside of it. So we'll loop over them with .each. I've got my index and element, and then we'll grab names dot push, and then we'll take the element dot text, and then we can just console log names, and then at the bottom we need to export this. So module dot exports equals get results. And then in index, we can do const get results equals require get ./util/scraper. So we're pulling that in from that file, and then we'll just run get results by calling it here. So if this is set up right, we should see some results in the terminal. So we'll do npm run dev. Nice. So there's our array of all of the different school names that showed up here. So if you look on Cheerio's documentation, I know that there are ways to target, like instead of doing, so I noticed this afterwards, but you could target like the data. So I think I can do like something like this. So school li dot data name. It's something like that. Let's see if this still works. No. No, it didn't. So there is a different way to target like these data names. So if you just look at the documentation, then you should be able to find something. But point being, there are different ways to target different elements. So if one way isn't working for you, you can just try another. So this one is the one that we're going to use for now. We'll target the class of school-li and any H3s inside of that list item, because inside of that list item, that's the only H3. Next, what we want to do is grab the start dates. So for the start date, that is, let's see, inside this div, inside of this details paragraph. And it looks like it's this span. This span that it's in doesn't have a class, but it is strong. So what we can do is similar to the nested targeting that we did for the li and h3. We can do the details and then target the span inside of the details that also has a strong tag inside of it. So let's go ahead and set that up. We'll do dollar. We'll do class name of details, span tag, strong tag. So it's going to target a strong tag that's inside of a span that's inside of details paragraph tag. And then we're going to essentially run the same loop. So we'll do index element, and then we'll do start dates dot push $ element dot text. And so now if we run this, we can console log the names and the start dates. Sweet. So we can see Lewagon all the way through Alchemy Code Lab, and then the next course start. And it's grabbing these in order too. So if I go Lewagon April 13th, Lewagon April 13th, April 6th for App Academy, April 6th for App Academy. So that's all great. But I would like to bring this back so that they're like essentially like an object, so that we have like the school name and then the start date paired up. So let's do this. Let's have a variable called merged sent to an empty object. And then we'll take our names array dot for each name and index, and then merged this object at at name will equal start dates at I. And then what we can do, instead of console logging the names and start dates, we can do merged. So essentially it's looping over that names array, and then for each of them it is setting this object merged at whatever the name is equal to the start dates at that index. So it's basically just smashing these two arrays together. So let's go ahead. I'm going to clear this, and then npm run dev. Cool. So now I'm getting the name paired up with the school name. So that's helpful. All right. So now what we can do to make this a little bit more useful is we can build out like a little server. So we can set this up on an endpoint, and then from there you can like build out like a little front end. It doesn't even have to be anything crazy. So let's go ahead, and I'll probably have to restructure this. And so right now it's just a giant object. I'll just need to run like a little function over this to put these in key value pairs. But for now, that's fine. So let's go ahead and go into our index. We'll do our const express equals require express. We got our get results, and then we'll do const app equals express. We'll do we can get rid of get results here. We can do app.get, and then forward slash, let's do start dates. Start dash dates. We'll run async, request, response, and next. So we'll try our const results, await get results. And then we'll res.json our results. And then we'll catch errors with just console log for now. And then we'll app.listen. We can do port 4444. And then console log server started. Okay, I think that should be everything. So let's go ahead and get it up and running. So server is started, so that's good, but we're not seeing our results anymore. So let's look at localhost 4444 / scrape. Is that what we did? Oh, / start dates. All right, so we've got an empty object. Let's see. So we still have, oh, because we didn't return it. So let's return merged. So I noticed that because I saw in the console all this data showing up. So let's refresh and see if we get anything. Man, still nothing. All right. Let's see if we console log this, see if what we get. And refresh this. Let's shut this down since we made a change. So where's that JSON results? All right, so now let's rerun. Let's start the server back up. And now refresh. There we go. Okay, cool. So the issue was, first of all, I had console log merged here instead of return. And then when I refreshed it, the server was still running, so I needed to refresh it. So now we have a giant object of schools and start dates. So we can refactor that a bit, but those are the basics for getting an Express server up with scraped data from a website. I'll come back and clean this up in a future video and build out a little front end, probably with React. But for now, you know how to use Cheerio and scrape some data. So hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.